This has been a fascinating year of hockey. Both the Metro and Atlantic look stacked with no signs of holding up. In 2020, the year of the fired head coach, the playoff race will be frantic. What should the Eastern Conference gear up for? When this team is clicking, there are very few squads that can best them in a matchup. When they aren't, it's what they were a few years ago. Mired in mediocrity fighting off vultures. At least their first line is still really good. Pasta being pasta. Marchand is elite self when he isn't whiffing on shootout opportunities. Wait, Bergeron maintaining form. All is well there, but the keys for this team are simple. Maintaining quality performance from the depth and bringing Tuukka Rask back into the fold after a concussion. That and wondering what to do with Torrey Krug with how he's become more injury prone as of late. David Backes, that part has already been decided. Hope the Bruins' body doesn't wear down like his.
That's not down, rebound, and Puckers. Overtime in Buffalo. Eichel shoots.
Pick a goddamn form already. Jesus Christ. It's felt like a massive bait and switch. You tease your fans with something other than uninspired shit, but it's revealed to be a Chinese knockoff of a hockey team. Everything is still garbage. I am shocked that an ownership group that doesn't know what it's doing, combined with the sins of several previous regimes, are still haunting them. All those moves that looked really good during the offseason, they've all turned to shit. Jeff Skinner gets his massive deal and then suffers a serious injury. Goaltending still iffy, depth one of those mythological beings told in stories. The team, like the fanbase nowadays, has seemingly checked out. Yet again, a losing culture drains everything. It's one of the few things the Sabres have properly developed. Prepare for apathy. I'm not pissed at the Hurricanes, that's the wrong word to use. They're still in decent shape, but forgive me if I expected just a little bit more out of them this year. With the strong form to finish last season, I was anticipating an emergence of a juggernaut. Unfortunately, Mrazek's great performances last year have been matched by the frustratingly enigmatic Mrazek that Detroit knows all too well. At least James Reimer is playing to the ability of what Florida wanted from him. It's nothing to do with the way the Canes are being built, but just questionable deployments. Eric Haula is a quality middle six forward, so why the hell is he being healthy scratched? Is he in the coach's doghouse? Might have the same issue with Dougie Hamilton. He's not coming back this year due to injury. Seems like I might need a distraction to get over this.
Hey, look everyone, Justin Williams is back! We're going to the goddamn Cup Finals and we're not trying!
You ever have those moments where everything seemingly goes to shit, yet you not only survive, but thrive? That's what the Jackets have been experiencing over the past few months. This isn't even including the talent drain they had over the summer. We're talking injuries. Endlessly endless injuries. I know that's a double negative, but that's merely to emphasize how battered their cannon was and still kinda is. So why all the buzz? Well, an unexpected winning streak merely has them back in the playoff hunt. When you think about it, this is the kind of team Tortorella thrives with. No true superstar, but young and impressionable. All hail Elvis. He is your Latvian savior and you should cherish him. As long as your team keeps away from the lava of Mount Tortorella's eruption, things should be okay. I just don't know if it will be enough for a playoff spot. Be a good story, though. The less time I have to spend on this disaster zone of a team, the better off I'll be for it. The hockey gods do not care that it's been years since Illich and Holland handcuffed the team into awful contracts. Your punishment must be more severe. All of your veteran players must fall off of a cliff. Every single one will become dead weight. Detroit is about 3 good bodies and the rest are counting the hours like Jeff Blashill is. You're dead. Your friends are dead. Your families are dead. Everyone you have ever known is dead. Your future generations will be dead. Everything is fucked. Welcome to rock bottom. Good luck, Stevie. After years of being lost in the swamps near Sunrise, the Panthers have seemingly found civilization. About what they should have been a few years ago, but a few knee-jerk changes in team philosophy set them back a bit. This year was critical for everyone, and they've seemingly responded to the challenge. The issue wasn't in the core. We all know they have talent and can carry a team. It was in the depth and coaching. Quenneville is a quality coach, and he's showing that here. That's why you're paying him the big bucks. Depth-wise, they're getting good performances. Nola Chari, where the fuck did this come from? They'll probably bolster up at the deadline, but there's still one missing piece. Bobrovsky. Paging Sergei Bobrovsky. You can show up anytime you want, buddy. You're the only thing preventing this team from being a cup contender. I know you have the ability to take over games. Find it for Florida's sake. Despite finding Jesus and having nearly every single move somehow panning out, the Canadiens are dealing with the unfortunate realities of a few moves in the past. Like Bergevin, they are an enigma. Montreal has speed and skill. They have guys like Philip Deneau breaking out, so why are they sputtering along? Well, there's this problem of Carey Price. He's not being Carey Price. He's been rather pedestrian, which doesn't work out in such a top-heavy division. And with that contract he's on, it's going to be tough to maneuver around in the future. Which also makes me mention Max Domi is arbitration eligible this summer. I'd be more worried about the sophomore slump of Jesperi Kotkaniemi, though. Dude has just hit a wall. Drouin's had issues staying healthy, and there's been massive instability at backup goaltender. There is a nice Ilya Kovalchuk who's injected life into the offense, though. You might be able to get something decent for him at the deadline. I just felt like you'd be expecting more out of this team. I'm going to treat this segment just like the Devils' defense. Exposed, cherry-picking for cheap opportunities, and leaving Mackenzie Blackwood to die by odd-man rushes. An absolute disaster only amplified by the seeming lack of fucks given in their own end. You failed in the Taylor Hall sweepstakes. He was traded to Arizona for bulk goods. John Hines was exposed and fired. Ray Shero was exposed again and subsequently fired. Ownership has little idea where to take this team. The Devils have seemingly stopped caring some nights. The rebuild is in tatters. Prepare for a fire sale to what was once a fire sale. Welcome to Sabres territory. Long Island's favorite bunch of overachievers. A group of selfless players all fighting for the greater good of the Eggman and his ambitions. It's the same formula as last season. 4 well-rounded lines of quality players, but doesn't have much star power, excluding the one and only Matt Barzal. They rely on adhering to their systems and insulating their goaltending to where they mostly face low-quality shots. That part seems to be working. Thomas Greiss has been a god, which is good that he's a free agent about to get a good payday. Sucks for the organization. Varlamov has been solid, but not Greiss good. An impressive hot streak led the way throughout October and November, but things have cooled off since then. Exclude those months and you have a team treading around 500. Here lies the question. What do they do? Do they try to bolster and potentially mess with team chemistry? Or sit pat and hope the system brings them back to form? A big decision for them to make moving forward. It's exactly what I felt at the start of the year. The Rangers aren't truly done with their rebuild. They're on the right track, but as the Devils can tell you, it can fall apart pretty quickly. There are foundations to build on at least. Artemi Panarin has been as skilled as advertised, and the defense, especially in the offensive zone, has made massive strides. Tony DeAngelo mostly. Ryan Strome has had a really good bounce-back year, but at this point it's to see who's worthy of being traded at the deadline. The Rangers still have massive problems both in team depth and defense. Mark Stahl and Brendan Smith can't keep pace with the NHL game, and they'll probably be bought out soon. Capo Caco has been an 18-year-old nowhere near ready for the league. I expected more out of him. The Rangers are about 2 to 3 years away from being true contenders, and it will show at the deadline. Keep the course, boys. Yes, this sucks. It has for a few years and will for a couple of more, but this is the price of cheap ownership and committing to a full-scale rebuild. Even then, you can at least boast that you aren't the absolute worst in the league. You suck, but you don't suck as badly as you did. Don't let it fool you into thinking things are better. That isn't happening with Melnyk. It just helps that Anthony Duclair's revived his talents and San Jose has been awful. That means another potential lottery pick. Maybe you guys have some luck after all. The team itself unimportant, we all know their flaws in the back end and in net. Anders Nielsen has been good though. Hey, I'm trying. How do you feel about this season? On one end, it's what I sort of expected out of Philly, but on the other, you can make the argument that fans should expect more out of them. I know you can say that the Metro is a bloodbath once again, but it appears that the Flyers are stuck in fringe playoff contender upside. What did you do to Shane Gostisbehere? Do I have to yell at you since he's a shell of what he was? We can only hope that Travis Konechny doesn't suffer the same fate as him in a few years. He's blossomed into an interesting player. I wouldn't say your issue is goaltending this time, although analytics seem to think both Elliott and Hart have merely been average. The offense seems to be struggling to break out into their full potential. They have the talent, I've seen it. At least it isn't Dave Haxtell doing it. It doesn't help that Carter Hart has been battling injury these past few weeks, but Philly will need more to take that next step. One more thing. Oscar Lindblom beat the shit out of cancer and get back onto the ice soon. This team, man. This fucking team. When you saw them last playoffs, you saw a team that was dead. Lifeless. Now tell me back then that they would not only revive their speed-based system, but do it with a pandemic of injuries. I would have punched you in the dick the same time it takes Sidney Crosby to make another highlight reel play. There's little to bitch about at this point. They're playing way above their weight limit. I'm expecting some regression, but this team is absolutely dialed in. All 4 lines putting in work. John Marino, our new savior of the blue line. Him freeing us from the Goodbranson contract is worthy of itself. Brandon Tanev has been this team's most consistent player. Even Jack Johnson hasn't been total ass. Matt Murray and I are no longer friends, though. Tristan Jarry is my new best friend. So what's the catch? Simple. Injuries. A shitload of them to rival Columbus in the pile of dead. Losing Jake Gensel is going to hurt. Playing a miscast Alex Galchenyuk is only making matters worse. At least Crosby's back from his core injury. Now watch this team keep dropping like flies. Oh So the Lightning are doing the usual thing they do during the regular season? Am I supposed to lavish praise for the same damn shit I've seen for years? Should I kiss their ass because they're seemingly being bailed out of their own inefficiencies by talent most nights? Yes, they're good on the surface again. Yes, I'm probably being hypercritical due to past failures, but is there any reason for me not to? Once again, this team's goals are in April, not now. Wake me when they reach the finals. If they ever do. I wouldn't call this year a disaster. They're still in okay shape from a talent perspective. However, it's been a very, very trying year for a team gunning for the cup. The issue here are a lot of decisions made coming back to haunt them. What happens when you invest $25 million per year into 4 players? You have to pay the price elsewhere. In Toronto, it's in the great struggle to find defense and a backup goaltender. Freddie Anderson is going to be beaten harder than tenderized meat by the time this season is done. I wouldn't trust Michael Hutchinson either. Although I don't understand their obsession with giving Cody Ceci big minutes. Didn't they see him in Ottawa? Maybe Morgan Riley will come back from injury sooner rather than later. Fortunately, they haven't been sitting on their laurels. The Leafs brass finally realized that Mike Babcock is a dinosaur who hasn't done anything of note in a decade. His tactics have been holding the team back, so the decision was made to fire him. Things have gotten a little better since then, but will it be enough to overcome other deficiencies? Sometimes you have to admit that a team just isn't good enough. I think they'll keep their heads in the sand, though. I don't blame them. The standard Capital season, where they utterly dominate the regular season by means of Ovechkin doing the thing in team cohesion. They are once again one of the head honchos in the points race. I would make a shitty playoff joke, but they've won a cup. They are saved from such cheap jabs. John Carlson has led the charge. The man is having a season for the ages and a clear-cut favorite for the Norris Trophy at this point in time. I would question why you're giving $9.5 million per year to a Nick Backstrom in his mid-30s, but fuck it, this season's been good to Washington. That contract will mean the end of Braden Holtby here. Not to say he hasn't been undeserving of such a removal with his struggles and Ilya Samsonov usurping his role. I just keep that in mind come playoff time. A bad Holt Beast is bad for this team indeed.
What do we got here? Uh-oh. Thomas Hurdle. It's the Beeb in town. Just not tonight. Here's the Bieber impersonator on Binnington. It was going to be good. You have to wonder how he's seeing out of those